And when you find your way to your mat, you can go to your back. And can you find a balance, that balance that we're talking about of being in the world and your external surroundings, being aware of that, but also just being really aware of your own feelings, your own sensations. And drop into your practice. Arriving at your practice. I'll meet you at the mat. So everyone's different, and you might be doing a lot of movement on the floor right now. You might be doing just a little movement. Or you might be really going internal and just checking in. How can I prepare myself for this laboratory experience right now, right? How can I prepare myself for this this class, this time in my body? And then take your legs long, toes pointed up at the ceiling, engage your legs, tuck your shoulder blades underneath yourself so that you feel your whole shoulder blades on the ground, palms up. So this is the Tadasana shape. Engage the shape for a nice long inhale, and then on the exhale, just soften, let your feet fall out to the side, let your whole body melt into the floor. Engage, point the toes back up to the ceiling, engage your legs. You might engage at your core slightly, and then on your exhale, soften, let your feet fall out to the side, and as much of your back makes contact with the floor as possible. Just do that a few more times. Just find Tadasana, and then more of a Shavasana shape. And then the next time you come into the relaxed shape of Shavasana with the feet out, take a few rounds of breath here, remembering that part of our practice is to empty before we fill. Empty before we fill. It's hard to fill when we're already full. So emptying first. And then interlace your hands. Draw your arms behind you, stretching your palms away, and stretch your feet away, 1 foot at a time. So pumping through one heel and the other. Toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. And just be aware of making some space between your hip and your low ribs on either side as you go back and forth. Between hips and low ribs. You can go at any speed that feels nice to you. So opening up sideline for any practice, just even for even if you're not doing a yoga practice, opening up your sideline is going to help you have a better day, better breathing. So bring both feet over to the right, and now your hands over to the right, or interlace your hands behind your head and slide your left elbow back. Now, You can also here just back off slightly. Once you go find your edge, back off slightly. But just relax into this a bit and see if you can feel some space beginning to open in the left side waist. Between each rib and the intercostals. This space gets very sticky when we sleep. Then you come through center, take your feet over to the left, slide your right elbow back. Patience with this warm-up process, really preparing our bodies for the more complex movements and shapes. Come back to center, soles of the feet to the floor. And just a few pelvic tilts here. So drawing pubic bone away from navel, bringing your low back off the floor, and then exhale in the opposite orientation. And you can make this a small movement, a big movement. You might feel this all the way up through your spine, into your head. Allow it to be natural. Your body doing exactly what it needs to do. And then you can let your arms come out to a T and take the knees back and forth. Windshield wiper movement. Again, just a little scanning here, preparing for what we will do later when we stand. Okay, now come back to that Tadasana shape. So the legs, you can have your arms in T or Y or beside you, but slide your right foot, your right knee out to the right, and then bring your right knee up towards the ceiling, and then take your leg back to straight. Slide your right knee out to the right, so the outer edge of your right foot is on the floor, and then pick your knee up towards the ceiling, sole of your foot comes to the floor, and then straighten your leg. So do that a few times, so working in the hip. Slide the right knee out to the right, come to the sole of your foot, and then press your leg straight. And we'll take the other side. So slide the left knee out. So coming into this external rotation, and then pick your knee up so it's pointing at the ceiling, and then slide your left leg straight. And just continue that little pattern. Approximately the same number of times you did on the other side. So you're becoming intimately aware with the external rotation in your hip. Good, go back to the first side, to the right side, and now slide the right knee out to the right, and then touch the sole of your right foot into the inner left leg. Okay, even if you just touch your toes, see if you can get the two to come together. So the left leg, toes are up towards the ceiling, engage that leg, pull muscle to bone, and feel those two connected. So this is Vrksasana, of course. So. Okay. Good. And then you can let that go. Take your right leg long, slide your left knee out to the left, press your sole of your left foot into the seam of your right leg. Right leg is in Tadasana, and you're pressing the leg and the foot together. So there's some effort there, and here we're on Vrksasana on the other side. Great. Then you can let that go. And take the soles of your feet back to the floor, just a few cat-cow movements to neutralize spine, low back in particular, and pelvis. Mhm. And then with the soles of your feet on the floor, take the palms to the floor. So palms are resting on the floor, fingertips are pointed to your heels. Slide your hands as you come up, lifting your head and shoulders, slide your hands to touch your heels, and then come back down. Okay, so slide, lift your head and shoulders, you'll feel engagement in your core, come back down. All right, so 6 to anywhere from 6 to 12 to 20, just start to engage your core. If that's too much on the back of your neck, just take your hands behind your head. Do the same thing, imagine you're sliding your hands to your heels. Let your head rest in your hands. So you're not using your neck muscles to do this, but you're really engaging in the core. Slow it down. Slower is always harder. All right, so slow it down. The next time you come back to the floor, just rest down on the floor and now stack your knees over your hips. Alternating touching toes to the floor. Touching toes to the floor. Again, somewhere between 6 and 12 and 20 times on each side. Really feel how you are engaged in the center of the core here. And then it's heels to the floor. And you should feel that a little bit lower in your abdominal area. A few more on each side. Good, then take the soles of your feet to the floor, stretch out long or lift your hips, take a block underneath your sacrum. And now release your legs long and let the hip flexors relax or lengthen, the opposite, into an eccentric contraction here, let them lengthen. Not quite done on the floor here with the core. So then if you've got the block underneath, press into the soles of your feet, remove the block. If you're on the floor, now everybody back on the floor, stack your knees again over your hips and take your block and squeeze it between your legs. So any orientation is fine. I'm using mine, sort of the length of my block right in between my thighs. And I'm just gonna squeeze the block here and press into an imaginary wall with my feet. So my lower legs are in Tadasana, right? I just have a bend in my knees. Maybe I'd kind of like a Utkatasana, right? Chair pose. And then I'm gonna reach up and take my right hand to the opposite side, to my left outer leg, and then come back down. And then inhale, reach up, take my left hand to my outer right leg, back down. And I'm gonna continue that little pattern. Keep squeezing the block. Keep squeezing the block as you come across your body now, kind of exciting the obliques a little bit. And again, if it really bothers your neck, you find yourself pulling with your neck, just take your hands behind your head and rest your head in your hands, and then just come up and do a little twist. A little twist, come back down, come up, do a little twist, but keep squeezing the block. Keep squeezing the block. You'll know when you're done. When you've done an even number on both sides, take the soles of your feet back to the floor. Again, take the block underneath your sacrum, or just stretch your legs long and just feel the relief there. A little engagement in the core here, so you don't just, or you're not completely passive, right? And just letting your low back droop towards the floor. Great. Okay. Then from here, remove the block if you have it, take it over to the side, take your legs now as wide as your space, and then let your feet move in one direction and the other direction, and really feel how one leg moves into internal rotation and the other into external rotation. We're going to be playing with that when we stand, right? We're going to be doing that in particular in the Vrksasana, the tree pose. So we have had a theme today of this balance, but also how trees have this incredible support network underground, and how they're the oldest living thing, I think, on the planet. Trees are pretty amazing. Good. Then from here, you have your block with you. Go ahead and roll to one side and come into the sideline Tadasana. So stacking the legs. Now you could rest on your block if you wanted to. A little awkward. You can rest on your elbow. You can bend your elbow and rest on your hand, or you can rest on your outstretched arm. Okay, and then find your balance here in this Tadasana. So stacking the feet, and you engage your legs and press your bottom pinky toe into the floor. And then you can play with your balance here by just lifting the top leg and the top arm. Okay, so just, you know, if we were to turn this shape upside down, or turn it actually 90 degrees, is that right? 90 degrees. If we were to turn it 90 degrees, we're just standing on the ground, right? Bring your hand to your hip and bring your leg into external rotation. So bring this top leg into external rotation. You can bring the knee forward and then up towards the ceiling. Try that a couple of times. Bring the knee forward and then externally rotate, bring it into external rotation, and then place your foot against your thigh. Some of us might be able to have a block in there as well. Okay, so you you decide what, you know, I want to keep this leg in external rotation. If I have the block, this leg is in external rotation, and I'm not dumping into my back. I'm in a very upright position, straight line, Tadasana. Bottom leg, toes into the floor. All right, so wherever you are, squeeze the bottom leg up against the foot, the top foot, and press the top foot into the bottom leg. It should feel like a little bit of work. Then you can release that top foot and take your bend your knee and take your top foot with your top hand and just open up the front of the leg a little bit more. So working front of the thigh, all the way through the belly of the thigh, front of the thigh. Yep. Good, then we'll switch it over to the other side. Again, And remember that sometimes our sides are very different. So finding, you might be resting on your hand because you have something going on your shoulder, or you could be resting on your outstretched arm. Either's fine. But find Tadasana first. So the feet are stacked and our toes are pointing out towards the long edge of our mat. And we're gonna find this nice, almost like you're a pencil, right? So everything in line, good. Then you just lift that top leg a little bit, just enough to play with your balance, lift the top arm. So here we are again. If we turn this shape 90 degrees, we're standing on the ground with our arm out to the left or right, depending on which side you're on right now. Now, can you engage your core ever so slightly? So draw your navel up and in and feel how that helps support your balance. Doesn't have to be 100%, just feel that engagement and how that helps you support yourself. And then the same thing on this side. You can have your hand down in front of you for balance, but bring your knee out to the front and then rotate it into external rotation and bring it around. It's the same thing we did on our back, right? So we're bringing the knee forward and then externally rotating it. Bring it forward, externally rotate it. Bottom leg is in Tadasana, pressing pinky toe into the floor. And we've got that nice rotation. Once we feel like we really feel that nice external rotation, we take the foot, see the inseam of the bottom leg. Again, if you want to play with seeing if you can get the block in there. Okay, the block against the leg, the foot against the block. That requires a lot of external rotation. And then you press the two together. So the bottom leg is engaged and pressing up into the foot, and the foot is pressing into the leg. And this is our Vrksasana, right? If we turn this 90 degrees, we'd be standing in Vrksasana. So take a mental note. What is engaged? What is working in my body? Do I have my core engaged? Do I have my extended foot engaged? Is that ankle working? Let's hold this for another couple rounds of breath. And then we'll start to vinyasa a little bit just to get some full body movement. Good. Great. Release that and roll right onto your belly. Come into Sphinx with your elbows underneath your shoulders. Let your head go, just softly moving your chin right to left. Gather your core up away from the floor. So gather your navel up away from the floor, pressing your pubic bone into the floor. All right, and we'll just stay in the Sphinx here. We're gonna stretch the calves a little bit. So turning one set of toes under and lift that leg off the floor and press through your heel. Okay, so sort of awakening some things in the feet and ankles. Then we'll take that leg back, top of the foot back to the floor, turn the other set of toes under and press your heel away. Leg is lifted off the ground. You just have your toes turned under. Good, then you can let that foot come down. Let yourself come down to the ground, slide your hands to your low ribs and press yourself up into table. Okay, and a little movement here, full body movement. So inhale to the cow. Exhale, drop your forearms to the floor, reach your hips back towards child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to cow. And exhale, elbows to the floor, hips back towards child's pose. Inhale to cow. Turn your toes under, exhale, up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale to cow. Exhale, forearms to the floor and hips back to child's pose. Cow. Turn toes under, downward dog. Now take a wide stance in your downward dog. And then just press up onto your toes and slowly reach your heels down towards the floor. Press up onto your toes. Slowly reach your heels down to the floor. And bring your feet back towards underneath your hips and come to resting on your knees in the table position. Good. From here, you might want to block for broken toe pose. And here we'll go back onto resting, the toes are turned under. Resting your hips on your heels or putting a block in between your heels and your butt. So working the plantar fascia. Ooh, opening up the bottom of the feet. I have very tight feet. My back line is pretty open everywhere else, but the feet, that's where I'm all congested. So a couple more breaths, everybody, stay with it. If you need to come forward onto your hands, if it's too much, come forward onto your hands. And we will all come forward onto our hands, move the block out to the front of your mat. And from the table position, take 1 foot back, toes under now, and feel this more in the belly of your calf. You can pulse this. And you can play with turning the foot out, the heel out and the heel in. And feel how that sort of excites a different place along the bottom of your foot and in your calf. We'll do both sides. Great. And then you can come back to table. Inhale to the cow. Exhale, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. All right, step the right foot towards the center of your mat and inhale your left leg out behind you. Bend your left knee and then do that external rotation again. So you're gonna roll the thigh outwardly and try to stack. You can vinyasa this a little bit and then hold and stack the left hip over the right hip. Press firmly into your left hand so that the shoulders stay nice and square. Good, then you can bring that foot back to the earth. Separate your feet wide again. We'll go vinyasa a little bit. Inhale, cow. Exhale, forearms to the floor. Drop the hips back, child's pose. Inhale, cow. And we're just doing this in between to kind of neutralize things again after being asymmetrical. Find downward dog again. 1 more round of that. Inhale to cow. Exhale, forearms to the floor. Hips back, child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, turn toes under. Press up and back, downward dog. Now bring your left foot into the center and inhale, reach the right leg long. Same thing, you're gonna bring your knee out to the side. Find that external rotation. You take your hip around in some circles to help find that same movement we did, both on our back and on the sideline, and then stack your left hip, your right hip over your left hip, best possible. Keep pressing into the right hand firmly to keep your shoulders square. And then right foot back to the floor, hip distance apart. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, elbows down, hips back, child's pose. Take a couple of breaths in child's pose now, and let your back body just melt, widen, soften. Next inhale, come back up to cow. And next exhale, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Good, walk your feet up to your hands. And with your feet about hip distance apart, gradually just bring your fingertips to your feet, to your knees, and then bring your hands forward and find Utkatasana. So imagine that you, in fact, let's all take a block. Let's squeeze the block between the thighs. So you're really engaging your legs. Squeeze the block between your thighs. Nice soft one. Arms are forward. And then press up to standing. And then let the hands float down, palms away. Palms away. So you can play with the block. You probably want it on its narrowest setting. Okay, so then the arms float down. Then inhale, sweep your arms up, palms facing one another, and slide your back down the imaginary wall as you come back into Utkatasana. As you press up, turn your palms out, and then exhale, let your hands float down, palms away. Coming back to Tadasana, and keep squeezing the block, keep engaging the legs. So then as you sweep the arms back up, that's the inhale, you'll exhale and sit in Utkatasana. Then as you inhale again, turn the palms out. Exhale, let your arms float down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, sit in the chair. Inhale, press back up to standing. Exhale, turn palms out and let your arms float down. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Palms are facing. Exhale, drop your hips back, come into Utkatasana, squeeze the block. Inhale, stand up. Press the palms out as you float the arms down. Good, let's do two more. And then the next time you let your arms float down to your sides, squeeze the block here, draw your shoulder blades onto your back, line up your ears over your shoulders, soften your shoulder tops, palms are forward. Squeeze the block. This is Tadasana. Now lift your arches of your feet. Can you lift all 10 toes off the floor? And then set them back down. Might have to look to do this. Can you lift just your big toes off the floor? Oh yeah, got it. Set them back down. Can you keep your big toes down and lift your 8 toes off the floor? That's pretty challenging. Set them back down. Great. Okay, so now let's take the block away and let's find, let's take the right foot forward. And you could have some wall space handy if you we're gonna start to challenge the balance, so you could have some wall space handy. But you could try this either in the middle of your room or against the wall space. So right foot is forward and left foot is behind the right foot. And your feet are in one line, like you're on a balance beam. So they're not touching. A couple classes ago, we had the heel and the toe touching. They're not touching. But there's about, 8 inches between the feet. Finding balance here. You probably are feeling a lot of movement in your ankles and feet. That's right. That's what we're trying to do. Then bend through the front knee and just come forward slightly. Now the front leg is engaged, but isometrically push the front foot forward so you feel the back heel engaged as well. Then re-straighten the front leg. Good. And then come forward again, putting your weight onto the front foot and just lifting the back foot off the floor, even just touching the back toes. You could just be touching the back toes to the floor or slightly have the foot lifted. Engage your glutes, both glutes, pull into center. Good. And then step into Tadasana. Let the effort go. All right, so now left foot forward, right foot is back. I'd say I have about a foot of space between my 2 feet. Squeeze imaginary block between your legs. Feel the effort of holding this balancing posture. Bend the front knee and feel how that changes it. So anytime we change the orientation of our body in space, right, we're gonna be playing with balance, which is why if we take some of the externals away, if you close your eyes here, that's gonna be really hard. Isometrically slide your left foot forward and feel how that helps you weight both feet equally. And straighten your front leg again. And then lean forward, little bend in the front leg, and just let your back toes touch or lift your foot off the floor ever so little. Step into Tadasana. Great, really good, everybody. Yeah. Take a few rounds of breath here in this soft Tadasana. So you got your alignment, but you're not working super hard. Just a softness here. Okay, good. Then from this Tadasana, let's have right foot forward, left foot back, but now left foot turned out. So we're in the warrior 1 stance. As you bend through your front legs, sweep your arms up. Press the front foot forward so the back heel is engaged. The back foot is engaged, the back leg is engaged equally with the front. And then just exhale, turn the palms out again, straighten the front leg, let the hands float down. Inhale, bend the front leg, sweep the arms up. Exhale, turn palms out, straighten front legs, let the arms float down to the sides. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. and exhale. So just a really simple vinyasa, but feel as you move through this, how changing the shape in your body requires you to find a little different balance. Inhale. And exhale. Now inhale, sweep the arms up and take your gaze maybe up to your hands, but it could be just up to the ceiling in front of you. And just feel how that changes with your balance needs. And then on the exhale, straighten through the front leg, bring your arms down to your sides and bow, resting your hands on your sacrum, bow into humble warrior. With the front leg is straight here, and you're just bowing in. You could even close your eyes and feel how that challenges your standing here. You're standing firm. On your next inhale, bend through your front leg, sweep your arms up. And on your exhale, step forward, let the arms float down, Tadasana. Great. Let's try the other side. So left foot is forward, right foot is back. Start with the simple vinyasa. So we inhale, bend through the front leg, sweep the arms up, palms face one another. Exhale, turn the palms out, straighten the front leg, let the arms float down. Inhale. And exhale. Going at a rate, a rhythm that allows you to feel how things change when you change the shape slightly in your body. Next time you inhale, reach the arms up, stay there. Maybe take your gaze up towards your hands and feel that shift in your balance requirements. Ankles are working, feet are working. Good. On your exhale, you straighten through the front leg, sweep the arms down to your side, rest your hands at your sacrum and come into this deep bow with the legs mostly straight. So just bow in such a way that is easy, but it's challenging your balance in a different way, right? It's not really the emphasis to do a deep fold here, but just to challenge the balance. Notice if you're over gripping with your toes. You pull your inner arches up. And then on your next inhale, bend through your front leg and sweep your arms up. On your exhale, you'll step forward, let the arms float down, Tadasana. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a wide stance now and just get a little bit of full body movement. So sweep the arms up, take opposite wrist with opposite hand and do a little side stretch, release, sweep the arms up, take the opposite wrist this time with the other hand and come into a little side bend here. You could even bring the heel off the floor as you go in the opposite direction, just a little full body movement. Good. And then taking the feet even wider, kind of like a goddess stance, just moving back and forth. Putting our weight over one foot, opposite leg straight, like we're a skater. And then feet together. You can bounce the heels here, walk around your space, do a sun salutation or some other vinyasa, and we're going to go to Vrksasana now. So I'm gonna work with a block, but you could do this, all the same things with your feet just standing on the mat. Thing I like about the block is that when I put my foot on the block, I'm going left foot first here. When I stand up, it really reminds me to contract my standing leg hip, my glutes. So I stand up on the block. And if you're not using a block, maybe you could just step forward, put your weight into that foot, and then just let the other foot sort of hang out. Maybe if you're on the block, you can bring your feet to be parallel to one another, or rest your foot on top of your standing leg, standing foot. That's the beginning, right? So we'll take this in little sections, right? So if you're on the block, step off the block, shake your legs, bounce your heels. If you're just not using the block, walk around your space, bounce your heels. We'll try the other side. So again, if you're using the block, as you step onto the block, feel this engagement of the glutes, the outer hip. Other foot floats or rests on standing leg foot. Starting right there. And you can step off, bounce your heels, move around your space. Okay, do a vinyasa, and then we'll take it a little further. Okay, so now, if you're just standing, I'll do both without the block. If you're standing without the block, reach the right knee up in space and externally rotate that leg. And you can just bring it back down to the floor first. Just get that external rotation. So you're trying to point your knee out to the right. If you need wall space, it's best to, I think, face the wall with both hands, right? So you remain square, better than coming sideways to the wall. So my back's to you, but I'll demonstrate. I think you can hear me. I bring the right knee up. I externally rotate that leg, and then I bring my foot to my calf. I press my leg into my foot into my leg. If I don't want the wall space, I'm just trying it right in the open space. Press leg into foot, foot into leg. If you want to use the block for the same thing, step onto the block, externally rotate the other leg, press leg into foot, foot into leg. Gonna get the same benefit no matter what. Feel your feet working, keep pulling everything into the midline, sort of gathering everything to the midline. And then take a little break, bounce the heels, walk around your space, and then try the other side. And most of us, I think, balance a little better on one foot than the other for some reason. If you're using the block again, step onto the block. Pick the left knee up in space, externally rotate it, and bring your foot into your leg. Just like we did already on our back and on our side. Squeeze everything in. Gather the navel up and in. Lift the arch of your standing foot. Squeeze the imaginary block between your legs. Release. Bounce your heels. Shake your legs out, walk around your space. Do some ninja jumps. right? Just get a little movement in your body, shake it all out, okay? And now let's try going for the foot into the thigh, just like we did on the floor. So again, wall space, if you're using wall space, square up to the wall space. Bring your weight into your left foot. Lift the right leg up, externally rotate it. You might have to take your hand to place your foot against your thigh, but here we go. I'm squeezing my foot into my leg and my leg into my foot. I'm doing it in the middle of the room. Same thing. Squeeze, find it, find it, find it. It's okay if you fall out, just find it again. But get that external rotation first, and then squeeze everything to midline. Feet are working, core is engaged. Come out, shake it out, bounce the heels, let your whole body just get a little fascial thing that's here. And then we try the other side. And you might try the other side with the blocks, stepping up. Left knee comes up, externally rotate. Thigh into foot, foot into thigh. Think about the deep roots, earth supporting you. And whenever you fall out or you need to come out, bounce the heels, shake your body, move around your space. We'll come to the floor with a vinyasa, so find Tadasana again. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, simply take your palms, press them out, and let your arms float down. Do this a couple times. Inhale, sweep the arms up. You can come up onto your toes here if you'd like. Exhale, press the hands away, let them float down. Inhale, sweep up. Come up onto your toes. Exhale, press the hands away, float down. This time as you inhale, come up. Exhale, fold to center, find downward dog and find the center of your mat, downward dog. Inhale, come to your knees and cow. Exhale, round your back, set your hips back towards your heels. We keep the arms extended now, tenting your fingers in this child's pose. Inhale, come back up to cow. Exhale, turn toes under, back up to downward facing dog. Inhale, drop to cow. And exhale, round your back towards your heels in the child's pose, but keep your arms extended. Your arms off the ground, tent your fingers, and then draw your triceps down towards the floor. So you feel this hollowing out underneath your armpits. Good, inhale as you slide your hands towards you, inhale. Now back to the table, drop your hips to one side, feet over to the other side, and swivel around and come to sitting. Coming into Sukhasana or Virasana, and let's just move through our pelvic bowl like you're a spoon in a pot, just stirring the pot. Good. Good, then from the sitting position, bring your hands behind your back. So legs can be, your legs, I wouldn't start with them super close to your body, I'd start with them out a little further. Bring your right ankle on top of your left thigh. And then move the foot, move the left foot a little closer. Keep your spine pretty nice and long though, don't collapse into your back. And so you're pressing into your hands, and wherever you have your left foot is wherever you have your left foot, it's fine, but you'll feel this in your outer right hip. Right, so just touching into those muscles that we used for standing. We'll switch it out and take left ankle over right knee, keep the spine nice and long. Maybe the right foot can come in a little bit, you're gonna feel that. So this is just figure 4 seated. We do this on our back a lot. We're just in a different orientation here. Feel that sensation in the outer left hip. Should be a nice sensation, no pain. Good. Then bring your both feet back to the floor, hands are still behind you. Take your legs into that same internal, external rotation. So feet going left, feet going right. Then bring the soles of your feet to the floor, hands right underneath your thighs. Lower yourself to the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. Crossing the ankles, either take the forearms around the knees, or you could take your outside edges of your feet are crossed. Just a little Apanasana here, going side to side, allowing yourself to sort of land on each side of the lower back. Giving a little massage to the kidney area. Then from here, kind of yogi's choice. You might be ready to drop right down into Shavasana. You might want a little bit more movement with maybe rolling bridge. Kind of coming into nice, gentle, full body movement before your final resting posture. Might feel nice to do a twist or a happy baby. I'll let you be guided by your own body wisdom here, your own body wisdom. And when you're ready, that can be at any point in time, but go to the Tadasana again first. So the feet pointing up towards the ceiling, tuck your shoulder blades underneath, so you're opening through your collarbones, you're opening the chest area for breathing and for love and all of that. Palms are up, and then allow yourself that same vinyasa of just opening up to Shavasana by softening and letting the feet fall out and letting your whole body melt. And then you can find Tadasana again. So some engagement in the legs, toes up towards the ceiling, and then relax into Shavasana. Right? Take 2 or 3 rounds of that. The point being to really allow yourself to drop fully into your Shavasana. And we'll be in Shavasana for about 3 minutes. And even here in the Shavasana, you could play with allowing allowing the external to come into your being. So maybe sounds, the close in sounds, the far away sounds. Or really just going very internal. Maybe there's some prayers you want to send to someone today, or some gratitude you have. And so may the merit of our practice encourage all beings to unveil the hidden brilliance that lies within us all. Namaste.